Hello everyone, it is Friday afternoon. It is Jelly Bean Crafting here with you, and I am going to share with you an exclusive new bundle. So this bundle will be available for the month of November only, okay? So I am going to show you it now. Sorry, I'm just getting all my stuff set up here on Facebook. Yeah, we're gonna go from there. Turn on my comments. Okay. So I have created 2 cards with this bundle so far, and these are going to be my customer thank you cards for October. So if you placed an order with me in October, you are likely going to be getting one of these. So what should we start with here? I will show you the cards that I have made. So these are the 2 cards I have made with what we're going to work with today. This card here is a case. I cased it from a demonstrator in Canada. I feel like her demo name is like Frog Lady. I can't remember her first name at the moment, but I will be sure to put her credits in my comments. So she had done a card similar to this, reversed. You'll see if you check out her info after, and she didn't use a star, she used she used a star, but she did some different stuff on top. So this is showcasing, there's some new DSP, and then there are some new dies and new stamps, okay? And then this is the one we are gonna make here today. This Thinking of You at Christmas. Hello, Jamie. So I'm gonna just move these things aside quickly, and I'm just gonna let you know what we got going on before we go ahead and make the cards. So this is the bundle that will be available for the month of November. So it's this Quite Curvy stamp set, photopolymer. So you can see it's got multiple greetings, 1 in a million, thinking of you, wishing happiest of birthdays, hooray, made with love, just for you, hello, and then these cute little birds and leaves and some flowers. And then it has corresponding die cuts. So this is the one that I have used for the card we're gonna make today, and I did all the die cutting in advance. So I'll show you how we use the die, but we're not actually gonna do any die cutting, just because I was doing some mass prepping last night. And then you can see these, so these 3 dies give you these curvy edges, and I'm sure you're seeing lots of cards out there already on social media. And then this one is these leaves, and then you've got the 3 little birds, and this is the flowers, and then here is just a nice bit of foliage. So a really great set for multiple situations. So that is the bundle, okay? What there's also available in the month of November only is an additional stamp set, which is what we're going to be working with today. Hello, Jeanette, which is Curvy Christmas. So it also goes with these dies, and then it's all these cute little Christmas stamps. So you can see that in the card I had made previously. Uh-oh, I'm frozen. Oh, maybe I'm just frozen on my Facebook feed. Weird. I used the stars and I used the Merry Christmas. And then for the one we are going to make here, I used the trees and then the Thinking of You at Christmas. Okay. So this stamp set you can only get in the month of November. In addition, what you're also noticing is this DSP. So this is DSP that will be out again only for the month of November. So it's called Classic Christmas 6x6 sheets, Cherry Cobbler, Sahara Sand, Shaded Spruce, and Whisper White. So you can see I've already been playing with it, and I was going to showcase that. Going to show you how we can do the die cutting. So I'm going to take a couple of the pieces out, So I think there are 4 patterns, and it's in all of the colors. So there's dots, and on the other side of dots is this sort of holly. There are stripes, and on the other side of stripes is grids. And then there are trees, and on the other side of the trees is this kind of tartan. I don't really know what to call this, and that's what we're using today. And then the stars, and on the other side of the stars is this foliage, whatever you want to call that. And I think that's it. So there's 4 patterns, 3 colors, 48 sheets in here. And it's these lovely 6x6. Hello, Kathy. Okay, I hope that I am not, looks like I'm still good on my phone, but I am totally freezing up on Facebook. So hopefully that's not freezing up for you guys. If it is, could someone drop a comment if it keeps freezing, and maybe I will have to go off and come back on. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going. Okay, so like I mentioned, I've already prepped all the supplies for the card we're going to use today. We're going to do the stamping, but I had done the die cutting because I was prepping it all last night so that I could craft upstairs where it was warm instead of down in the basement where it was cold. But I'm just going to show you the difference because I did this. So the one card that I already made, you can see it's got these dots in the curves. So the die, you can tell where the cutting line is. The cutting line is up here. So if you place the die this way, it will cut above the dots, and so you will get the dots in your piece of paper. So like I've done here. So the die went on here in this direction, and that means that the piece I'm cutting is going to have the wave and the dots. If you place the die the opposite direction, now the cutting edge is on the bottom and the dots are above it, which is what I did here because I didn't want the dots. So the dots are on this other piece, and this is just the cutting edge. So this card, I used it for the dots. The card we are going to make today, I just did the cutting edge. Okay? Clear as mud, I hope. So like I said, there are loads, I'm seeing loads of demos who have purchased this because we were able to purchase it in the month of October. That it's everywhere. If you typed in on Pinterest or Google Quite Curvy, you're going to see tons of stuff. So the dies make for some super fun, the curves, right? They make for some super fun, beautiful cards, whether it's DSP, whether it's white paper, whatever. Okay, so we are working with the Sahara sand, and then I thought to myself, and I knew I wanted to use the tree stamp. So I've already got that on a block. So what I did is I looked at I have these color coaches, and I looked at my in-color coach for the in-colors, and I saw Misty Moonlight, Crumb Cake, and Mossy Meadow. So I thought Sahara Sand's pretty close to Crumb Cake, so we're going to use Mossy Meadow with Sahara Sand and Misty Moonlight. So that's how I came up with the colors, in case anybody is kind of wondering, like, it's an interesting color combination, but I love it. I would totally make more cards with this color combo. It would be a great masculine color combo. Okay, so like I said, I have already done a bit of the prep work. So every once in a while, I just like to make cards that open this way, even when they are, what's going on here? Gonna stand like this. Hello, Sandra. So yeah, so that means you cut your cardstock 4 1/4 by 11, okay? And then you're gonna fold that in half. So this piece of Whisper White is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, already done. Now, these two pieces, like I said, what I have done is, this is a 6 by 6 sheet, and all I did was cut it in half. Ah, yes, Sandra, haha. Well, we're not making the card I gave you, we're making a different one, so this will be good. So I cut a 6 by 6 sheet into 3 by 6 and to make this bottom curve. And then this piece of paper, the Misty Moonlight, which to me looks kind of like snow falling in a blue sky, is from the Jar of Flowers. That's not what it's called though. It's from this Flowers for Every Season DSP. So it is the back side. of one of these, okay? So new DSP, old DSP. I already made the curves. Now we are going to do the stamping. So we are going to stamp in Mossy Meadow, and we're going to stamp our greeting in Misty Moonlight. When I originally was designing this card, in the stamp set, there's also these little dots that to me look like falling snow. So at first I had started by stamping the sky, and then I did not love how that was turning out. Not to say it couldn't look beautiful, but I didn't love what was happening for me. And so then I decided to go with the DSP as well. It's another showcase of the beautiful curves. So I'm happy with how this card turned out in the end. So we've got the thinking of you, and because this is photopolymer, we can bend it a little bit more if we need to. What I learned though, so I learned some definite things by making this card, is that I bent my stamp sort of a little bit more than the curve that it was, but then it no longer matched the paper, and so then it didn't match up very well. So you kind of got to cut your paper and then lay it down and then match your stamp to the curve. So you'll see what I mean when we do this one. Now, maybe you don't, maybe that's just me, but that's how I found it to work best. All right, so we're gonna put this on here and I'm gonna show you what we mean. Now, I don't know about anyone else, but when I mass produce a card, once I've done it once and I like the spacing, then that's the only spacing I'm interested in having. So because I was making multiples of these, I already know what I want. So what I have done is I've measured here. So I know that on this side, I want, it's like 1.5 plus a 1/4 of an eighth kind of situation. So I'm just gonna lay this DSP down, and you're gonna see why I'm doing this. I'm gonna take that away because I feel like that's distracting. So I want this to be 1.5 inches and a bit. And then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna line that up to 1.5 inches and a bit. So I want it to be there, but I want to make sure this is straight, and this is the problem I had yesterday. So for now, I'm going to put it at the very top of this so that I will know this is straight. So these are all the things that I do. I don't know what other card makers do. I'm sure you guys all have your own little tips and tricks that work for you. This is what works for me. So this is going to give me the spacing that I want between the bottom piece of DSP and the top piece of DSP. So I'm going to put this piece on, and now we're going to stamp. So you're going to see, because the stamp is clean, that when I lay this over top, it perfectly follows this curve. Like, it's awesome. These trees are so cute. I'm stamping on my Pierce mat because it's a photopolymer stamp, and then that will give us our nice crisp image. Okay, if you don't have one of these Pierce mats, you need to have it. Oh, Sandra, I just realized I forgot to put that Christmas wish list in with your order. When I mail you the other thing that I need, that I'm getting for you, I will put it in there, okay? Or I'll email it to you and you can print it off for hubby, or email it to him. Okay, so I've inked this up. It's gonna be a little bit longer than we need, but that's okay. Now, you might see the top of my head in here. I'm going to just get in here to make sure I'm happy with my spacing. Stamp that guy down. Okay, so there's our trees, curvy, so cute. All right, and then we're done with the Mossy Meadow. So I'm taking that off, taking that away. Okay, so I'm gonna take this away for right now, because now we're gonna do from the other side. So I know, again, my type whatever, picky, my type picky personality, that I wanted 1 inch on this side. So now I'm gonna put this down at the bottom so that I'm straight, because I am terrible at straight edges, eyeing them. Not good. Which would make you think I would use my Stamparatus more, and I don't. Terrible. We took a piece of foam board, glued some of the grid paper on top, and used it for everything. And yeah, that's a good idea. I should totally do that. I mean, I have tons of grid paper. Sandra's just saying that she took some of this grid paper and put it on foam board and then laminated it as well. Okay, so now we're gonna do the greeting, which is this thinking of you at Christmas. Now it doesn't curve quite as much as the curves do. So like I said, you could curve it a little bit more, which I did. I've put the S up a tiny bit, but it still looks awesome, so we're not going to worry. So this is in that Misty Moonlight, which is one of our new in colors. And so we're just going to put that in here, making sure we don't stamp where we're going to place the DSP. Okay, so now there's our greeting, thinking of you at Christmas. So this card is really very simple to put together, but it's gorgeous, don't you think? It is stunning. Now, these pieces of DSP are too big. So for this smaller piece, what I actually did was cut the 6x6 sheet into 3. So each of them were 2 inches by 6 inches. And that allowed me to get 3 cards out of this piece of DSP. And this guy, I'm getting 2 cards out of. I just found it was easier to just kind of cut it in half and take a little bit of wastage, which I can use in another project, than to sort of try to measure this exactly. And then if I didn't have my curve quite right, it wasn't going to be the right size. So that's how I have chosen to do it. Certainly doesn't mean that's how you would have to do it. Now, this is where this gets a little interesting. So again, this is how I have figured out how to put this card together, because my pieces of DSP are a little bit bigger than my card. So again, if anybody has a better idea for how this should work, by all means, let me know. So I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal and I am going to put it on the top edge of this card, because I know that all of that is going to be covered with DSP. Now I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm going to put a little bit down the edge, because I know that that is also going to be covered with DSP. And now on my DSP, and I should really have, now let's swap out for our silicone sheet. Put that up there. On our DSP, I'm going to put adhesive on this edge. So the reason I am doing it like this is so that I don't end up with glue on part of the DSP that I'm going to then need to cut off, because then you end up with glue all over your cutting edge, and that is less than ideal. So I'm going to put my ruler back here, because like I said, I'm a little bit of a fusspot and I want it to be 1 inch from the edge. And now because I am using the liquid glue, I have a little bit of wiggle room to move this around. And I'm going to line it up with my edges, because I've already cut it so that it is not the 6 inches, but it's the 5 1/4. All right, and then I'm just going to press that down. And then afterwards, we're going to cut that off. Okay, and then we're going to do the same on the other end. So again, I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal. I'm going to use it on this bottom edge, and that's just going to ensure that my paper is going to stick, because I am being a little loose with how much adhesive I'm putting up the edge here. Okay. And then I like to just kind of flick that into the card so that hopefully it doesn't smoosh out the edges, because nobody likes smooshed out adhesive. And then we're going to put some on this top curve again, because this is what we're lining up with our trees. So Sahara Sand, it's like a really nice neutral, right? It's like crumb cake. It is not a card color that I would necessarily use. I would never go out of my way to buy DSP that is in this color. But because I have this now, like, I really like it. I really like how it looks with the shaded spruce and the cherry cobbler, which are the other 2 colors. I love how it looks with this color scheme, the blue. Oh, I didn't use my ruler. You know what? I'm okay with that, because I can see how it's sitting under the trees. So yeah, and I have a whole pack of Sahara Sand cardstock, which is nice. So you'll see that's what the other card I used for that card base was, Sahara Sand. Okay, so there's our card front, and we're going to do some ribbon. So before we put the ribbon, I'm going to trim these excess bits off. And then I am using this mini trimmer that I was during last year's celebration. So I'll go with the top piece first. Not that it matters, but just we glued this one first. Cut that off. And then flip that around. So these curves, right? Super fun. And there are lots of great cards out there. So now I've got this strip. It's actually not that much. So what does it turn out that I'm using here? 3/4 of an inch. So I guess instead of cutting that paper in half, but really it's not gonna, it's essentially half. If you decided you wanted to recreate a card like this, if you chose to get these products in December. Okay, this is our Mossy Meadow diagonal striped ribbon. So you can see on one side, it's heavy on the mossy, easy on the white. The other side, it's heavy on the white, easy on the mossy. I want the mossy side primarily. So we're gonna place this underneath, and then I want my bow over at this one edge. The good thing is we can move it if we end up tying it in the wrong spot. So when we're tying our bow, you can see I brought it like this. Now I need to turn my ribbon underneath so that we get this nice flat bit here. So there is a little bit of finagling, and then we're gonna tie our little bow here, and we are gonna see both sides of the ribbon at this point because you're doing a bow, there's sort of no way around it. I could probably really fiddle with that if I was super picky and wanted it to only be the mossy side, but I'm okay with that. And then I'm gonna center this and make sure it's kind of where I want it. Now, if you tie a bow and it's not exactly where you wanted, and you need to move it, or a knot ribbon, and you don't want to risk ripping your card, you bend it. Okay, so you bend it a little, and then you can pull on your ribbon and move it, and then flatten it out again. So there we go. We have that how we like it. We're gonna trim it. I think all my scissors are upstairs, because like I said, we only turned the furnace on today. My husband was having us freeze. And so I've been crafting upstairs because it was cold down here. Kathy, are you still watching? How's that snow there, my friend? Is it still snowing? Kathy lives in Kelowna. And I know I was chatting with my mom a little bit today because it has snowed in the Okanagan today. Crazy. I remember as a child once having to go trick-or-treating when it had snowed. Only once though, and I lived there my entire life. So I only remember one time where there was snow at Halloween. Okay, so there is our card front, and now we are just gonna put it on our cardstock. So I'm just going to score this, which I should have done in advance. I'm not gonna lie to you, I often don't bother to score it. I just fold it in half and use my bone folder. But if you have the scoring option, then you will get a crisp fold. So take out the cutting blade. And if you do card classes with me or any of my classes to go, I always score your cardstock for you so that you can have a nice fold. You should still use your bone folder even if you score your card. It just gives you a nice crisp edge. And I still always make sure I line up the edges. Okay, so then this is where you would pull out your bone folder, which apparently mine is somewhere else. Oh no, here it is. I've got a little pencil case full of all these things, but I couldn't find it. Okay. All right, there we go. So I didn't use any dimensionals in this card. Everything about this card is flat. Where's my, oh, I'm like, where's my silicone sheet? So often I use this liquid glue to do card fronts, but because I've got the ribbon, and I want that to stick, then I like to use the seal because I can go right over top of the ribbon, and then the ribbon has some adhesive on it. And then because this Stampin' Seal is so good, I don't even worry if I cover the entire edge. I cover one side corner to corner, and the other one I don't even worry so much if I don't have corner to corner. Okay, and then we're going to center this on the front. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now I have made 4 of these. And every time I make it, I'm just in love with it a little bit more. And I'm like, this is a me original. So like I said, the other card I cased and changed. So copy and share everything, or copy and selectively edit. I try to copy and selectively edit. So like I said, I got the idea from this card And then my curves are the opposite way. My stamping is the same as the other demonstrator. And then she had a star and then a bow and some sprigs, and I chose to do it a little different. And just an aside, if you're wondering how I got this shaded spruce twine, I took the linen thread and colored it with my Stampin' Blend. So that's where that came from. Okay, the other thing I did here was use silver metallic pearls. So I wanted some little bit of bling on here, but I didn't want it too crazy off the top. And so I thought these looked nice. So I just put, you know, everybody works in odds. So ideally, apparently, you should have an odd number. So it should be 3 or 5 or 7, generally, for embellishment. So I had one up there, and then I just chose to put 2 other ones. So I kind of put one over here, and I had one over there. And there we have it. So there is that card. Okay, how long did that take us? Half an hour. And that's with me doing a whole bunch of extra talking, because I was telling you all about these products because they are coming out. So they will be available in November. So November 1st. So if you're interested in them, then my host code, I'll post that up on November 1st, and then you can go ahead and place an order for that. If you know that you're going to want them, then by all means you can send me a message so that I can put that always in on a group order, or just remind you that they go on sale on November the 1st. And then while we are on here, I'm just gonna throw out one more shout out for my current class to go, which is my In the Pines class. Okay, so my class to go, we make 6 cards, 3 designs, you make 2 of each card. So this one is using the In the Pines bundle. So you pretty much need the stamp set in order to create these cards at home. I will do the die cutting for you, but you can't, I can't do the stamping for you. So you do need to have the stamp set, or you need to have some sort of similar type tree stamp set. So if you just would like the PDF, that's $15. If you want the PDF and just the supplies, it's $25. If you want this PDF, the supplies and the stamp set, it's $60. And then if you want the bundle, so the dies that come with this, then that is $100. And then I have some other extra ordering bonuses. So this is one of the cards, this guy here. This is another one of the designs. And then this is the 3rd design. Okay, so these are the cards you would be making, and I will do a video for each of them that would be in a Facebook group, and then you would have the PDF. I didn't stick to one ink color, which is what I did with my snowflake class, so you do need to have a few different inks. They don't have to necessarily be the ones I used. We've got shaded spruce here, we've got old olive here, and then we have some pretty peacock there. So that is that class. If you're interested, it's up on my Facebook page. It also went out in my email. You can also find it on my Stampin' Up website. So if you go to there, so it's listed in all of those places. You can sign up for this class until November the 1st at midnight. And then after that, I need to order the products and prep all the supplies. So if you are interested in that class, let me know. My November class to go, I am planning to do a tag class. And then whether or not I do 2 classes in November, another set of cards and tags, I haven't quite decided, but I definitely want to put some tags out there. Okay, that's it. That's all, folks. We're in and out in a half an hour, so hopefully you are having a fabulous Friday. I think today is the only rainy day. I think it's supposed to be nice for the rest of the weekend, so that will be good. And hopefully I will be able to get on here again with some more fabulous creations. Thanks so much, guys.